Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Before we start with today's video, I just wanted to greet all of you a happy new year. Also, just a few updates regarding my channel and my posting schedule. We will still have True Crime Tuesdays like this one, but I will also be uploading true crime videos every Sunday. And of course, my usual beauty related videos or reviews every Friday. So that's 3 videos a week, true crime videos every Tuesdays and Sundays, and a beauty related video every Friday. Also, all of my videos for the first 3 months of 2023 have been pre-filmed already. But should you guys have any case suggestions for me for April onwards, please let me know these suggestions by leaving a comment. Having that said, today we will be talking about a case with a somewhat happy ending. I really wanted to start off the year with some positivity. So today we will be talking about the amazing survival story of Michelle Knight, Amanda Berry, and Gina DeJesus. Michelle Knight was born on April 1981. Starting at a young age, Michelle already had it rough. She was born with a few developmental delays and was bullied all throughout her school life due to her small stature. Now, as a teen, Michelle dropped out of high school when she got pregnant. She was very excited to become a mom, but sadly, her baby was taken away from her by Child Protective Services just a few months after giving birth. On August 23rd, 2002, the then 21-year-old Michelle Knight was walking on the side of the road when she sees someone familiar. This man was named Ariel Castro, and Michelle knew one of his daughters. He offered her a ride home and she accepted. This was her friend's dad after all. Now, once Michelle got inside the vehicle, Ariel told her that he was going to give her a puppy that she and her son could raise together once she gains custody of him once again. Now, excited by the thought, Michelle agreed to come back to Ariel's home in 2207 Seymour Avenue to retrieve this puppy before he could finally drive her home. However, there was no puppy, and Ariel clearly did not have any plans of driving Michelle home. And instead, he restrained her and tied her up in one of the rooms in his house, and this is when he violated Michelle for the first time. During her captivity, Michelle would be sexually assaulted multiple times. It is also believed that Ariel Castro got her pregnant at least 5 times. However, she miscarried all of these babies. This was due to the physical abuse that she suffered from her abductor. And aside from this, she really couldn't carry the babies full term as she was starved and did not have enough strength and nutrients in her body for these babies to develop fully. And at first, of course, Michelle's family and friends were looking for her. However, a year into her captivity, Michelle was actually taken off the missing persons registry by her own family. Now, they thought that she just ran away to start a new life after her son was taken away from her. And she was already 21 at this point. She was an adult and could basically make decisions for herself. They had no idea that she was being held captive, and they wouldn't find out until more than a decade later. On April 21st, 2003, 8 months after abducting Michelle Knight, Ariel Castro makes the decision to take another girl yet again. And he spots 16-year-old Amanda Berry walking along Lorraine Avenue after she finished her shift at the local Burger King. And just like what he did to Michelle, he offered Amanda a ride home. She too knew one of his daughters, and once Amanda got inside the vehicle, Ariel then asked if she wanted to go and hang out with his daughter at his house. Amanda said, "Sure, I'm not going to work tomorrow anyway," and they headed off to 2207 Seymour Avenue. Now, once they arrived in Ariel's home, Amanda saw that the bathroom door was closed, and this is when Ariel told her that his daughter is probably taking a shower. However, his daughter was not there. Um, Ariel then takes Amanda to a walk-in closet where he chained her up to the radiator, taped up her wrists and ankles, put a helmet over her head, and then violated her for the first time. Now, after this, Ariel assures Amanda that he was going to let her go as soon as she finds another girl to take her place. And Amanda held on to this for at least a few hours before she decided to peek into the next room, where she saw another girl, Michelle, who was also tied up and looked like she had been there for a while. And the sad thing about this is that Amanda wasn't even supposed to go to work that day. It was her 17th birthday the next day, and she wanted to take the day off but decided to come to her shift last minute. So Amanda Berry spent her 17th birthday in captivity. However, she never really expected to spend multiple birthdays there. On April 2nd, 2004, almost a year after taking Amanda, Ariel decides to take another girl again, and this time he set his eyes on 14-year-old Gina DeJesus. She was in a payphone just 5 blocks away from Amanda was taken, and she was on a call with a friend asking if she could come to her house and spend the night there. However, her friend's mom said no, so as Gina was trying to think of what to do next, Ariel suddenly pulls up, grabs her, and then forces her inside the vehicle. And again, just like what he did to Michelle and Amanda, who were both still in captivity at this point, he took Gina to his house, tied her up, and sexually violated her. But before we get into this story further, let's talk about Ariel Castro first. Ariel Castro was born on July 10th, 1960 in Puerto Rico. His parents divorced when he was still young, and this resulted to Ariel, his mother, and his 3 siblings to move to the United States. Now, at first, they lived in Reading, Pennsylvania, before finally settling in Cleveland, Ohio, where the rest of the story takes place. Ariel has 9 siblings in total, 6 of which are half-siblings after both of his parents got remarried to different people. In 1979, Ariel graduated from high school and then met a woman named Grimilda Figueroa sometime in the 80s. Now, the two started dating and eventually got married. For the first few years of their marriage, they stayed with both sets of their parents before finally moving out and getting a place of their own in 1992. And this house was 2207 Seymour Avenue. Now, everything in their marriage was going smoothly at first. However, once they moved into their new house, this is when Ariel dropped his act and showed his true colors. He started physically and verbally abusing Grimilda. In 1993, just 1 year after moving into their new house, he was even arrested for domestic violence, only to be indicted by a grand jury. Now, 3 years later, in 1996, Grimilda has had enough and decided to file for divorce and move out of their shared home, taking full custody of their 4 children. However, her ordeal with Ariel did not end there. For years, he would harass her and make violent threats towards her and their kids. Ariel worked as a school bus driver but was let go from his job due to bad judgment. And in 2005, nearly a decade after their divorce, Grimilda filed charges against Ariel for harassment and taking their daughters without her consent. And this happened multiple times. However, this only granted her a temporary restraining order against her ex-husband, and that only lasted for months. In 2012, Grimilda sadly passed away due to the complications brought on by a brain tumor. She had no idea what else Ariel was up to and never found out. Okay, so back to our story. By 2004, Ariel Castro had 3 girls that were being held captive in his own home. He would physically and sexually abuse Michelle, Amanda, and Gina repeatedly and would often starve them. Aside from this, he would also do random things that would make the girls jealous of each other. Like he would give one person more attention and food than the other two, and he would treat one of them better, and he did this to make sure that they don't form a bond with one another. He was afraid that if they had gotten too close to one another, they would work together in order to escape. In 2006, 3 years after she was abducted, Amanda Berry, who is now 20 years old, falls pregnant by her abductor. And of course, Ariel refused to bring her to the hospital for her to be provided with the medical assistance that she needed. So instead, Amanda gave birth to a baby girl in the bathtub of one of the bathrooms in Ariel Castro's home, and Michelle helped her deliver this baby. She named that baby Jocelyn. Now, sadly, Jocelyn was born directly into captivity. But Amanda did her best to raise her child as normally as she could. Now, of course, they did not have access to a lot of things, especially the outside world. But Amanda created this little world for Jocelyn in one of the bedrooms. And it honestly looked like a classroom. Amanda also taught Jocelyn how to read and write and the basics of what you would usually teach a child at that age. Now, there came a point wherein Ariel would occasionally take Jocelyn out of the house, like to a nearby park or to the grocery store, because he actually loved his daughter. And he actually took care of her. And Jocelyn would often ask why his mother, Gina, and Michelle were not allowed to go outside with them. And of course, Ariel did not have an explanation for this. But despite already having a daughter with one of his victims, Ariel never changed his ways. He continued to violate, abuse, and starve these women. And all of this cruelty lasted for more than 11 years. Now fast forward to May 6, 2013. Let me remind you guys that Michelle was abducted back in 2002, Amanda in 2003, and Gina in 2004. So it's May 6, 2013. Jocelyn notices that her dad's car wasn't parked outside. Now, at this point in their captivity, the 3 women weren't chained up anymore, and they were allowed to roam around the house. Because by this time, Ariel was pretty sure that the 3 would not make an attempt to escape the house. However, whenever he left the house, he would lock them up in a room and then lock the main door, and there would be alarms in these locks. However, on this day, it seemed like Ariel forgot to lock them in a room before leaving. So when Amanda heard Jocelyn say that Ariel's car wasn't outside, Amanda took this as a chance to escape. She went to the front door and kept on banging on it until someone finally heard her. Now, luckily, one of the neighbors, a man named Charles Ramsey, was outside and heard her screams and helped her escape. She and Jocelyn then ran to a neighbor's house where they then called 911. Gina and Michelle, however, were too afraid to step outside of the house. They didn't know what they would do if they had decided to come out and saw Ariel standing outside. The 2 froze and only came out once the authorities finally arrived to help them. 53-year-old Ariel Castro was arrested on the same day. On July 12, 2013, he was found guilty of the following charges: 500 counts of kidnapping, 446 counts of rape, 3 counts of child endangerment, 2 counts of aggravated murder, and 1 count of possessing criminal tools. Out of his 3 victims, only Michelle Knight testified against him in court, recounting the 11 years in hell she spent under his captivity. On July 26, 2013, Ariel Castro tried to reason out in court that he was sick and had an addiction to sex. However, he was given the sentence of life in prison plus 1,000 years. And the most infuriating and frustrating part about all of this, on September 3rd, 2013, Ariel Castro, who abducted, abused, and violated 3 women for 11 years, took his own life after less than 2 months in prison. He reportedly hung himself using the bed sheets in his cell. And after gaining their freedom, Michelle Knight changed her name to Lily and wrote a book about everything that she experienced. Amanda and Gina also wrote their own book, and in 2017, Amanda became the host of a segment on Fox 8 called Missing with Amanda Berry, wherein she would report on missing persons cases in Northeast Ohio. Jocelyn, who is now 15 years old, was able to live life as a normal kid. People were actually shocked because when she started school, she was smarter than other kids her age, and her knowledge was pretty advanced, so Amanda did a great job teaching her. Now, after all of this unfolded, one of Ariel Castro's daughters was actually interviewed. This was his daughter, Emily, who is serving 25 years in prison for stabbing her infant daughter back in 2011. Now, according to Emily, she knew Amanda and Gina because they attended the same high school, but had no idea that her father was involved with their disappearance. Emily also said that the last person to see or speak to Gina before she went missing was in fact her younger sister, Ariel Castro. Now, if you guys remember, I did mention that Gina was in a payphone asking her friend if she could sleep over, but the friend's mom said no. That friend was Arlene. Now, it is kind of confusing if Arlene and Gina were together and they were calling Arlene's mom Grimilda, or if Gina was alone in the payphone and she was on the phone calling Arlene. Now, there are different reports on this, but apparently Gina used her last money to pay for that call, and therefore she had nothing left for the bus and decided to just walk home. And this is when Ariel spotted her down the street. According to Emily Castro, she was sure that this was not a coincidence and that her father probably took their friends because he wanted to hurt his daughters in some way. She says that Ariel would often drive around their neighborhood to stalk his daughters and probably knew that Amanda and Gina were their friends. But they never suspected their dad to be involved in something as sinister as this. I've actually watched so many videos and documentaries regarding this case, and I just can't believe how strong and resilient these women are. It's been almost 10 years since they escaped, but I'm sure that those scars will forever be there and those memories will haunt them for the rest of their lives. And that is all that I have for you guys. As usual, I would love to hear your thoughts on this case. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on my next video.